She stopped walking, just froze in place. Naomi Osaka, for Grand Slam titles to her name, a player who has endured the most suffocating pressure modern tennis can deliver, stood motionless inside Stuttgart's Porsche Arena, not because of a match point, not because of a trophy moment, but because of something she couldn't quite process in real time. What she was seeing didn't feel like tennis anymore. It felt like something else, something larger, something unfamiliar, and she wasn't wrong. The atmosphere inside the arena had been building all week into something Stuttgart had never witnessed before. A normally calm, well-organized stop on the WDA calendar had been completely transformed. An estimated 55,000 Filipino fans had poured into the city, traveling from Frankfurt, Munich, and every corner of Europe reachable by plane, train, or overnight bus. Hotels were fully booked. The energy spilled far beyond the arena itself. Restaurants overflowing with unfamiliar accents and a charged, electric energy. The streets outside the arena were wrapped in red, blue, and yellow. For a few surreal days, Stuttgart no longer felt like Stuttgart. It felt like an entire nation had temporarily relocated to the heart of Europe. But that still wasn't the moment that silenced everyone. Because Eala had just lost. Straight sets, 6-1, 6-4. A defeat to Leylah Fernandez. Her third consecutive first-round exit, on paper. The kind of result that usually closes a story immediately. Players vanish down the tunnel. Reporters rush to draft their headlines. And the stadium slowly empties. That's the expected rhythm. That's how it's supposed to end. Eala didn't follow it. Instead of walking away, she walked toward the stands. At first, it was one autograph. Then another. Then 10 more. And then it simply didn't stop. Minutes stretched into an hour. Caps, shirts, flags, posters. Anything fans had reached over the barrier, she signed it all. At one point, a supporter even extended an Olympic medal they had physically brought from the Philippines. Eala paused, studied it for a moment, smiled, and signed it without hesitation. She kept posing for photos again and again, never pulling away, never signaling for it to end in patience. She hugged children who would carry that afternoon with them for the rest of their lives. And she listened, not performatively, not out of obligation. She genuinely listened to personal stories, to joy that had nowhere else to go, to emotional words from people who had crossed countries, sacrificed wages, lost sleep, and spent months saving for this exact moment. Overseas Filipino workers stood there not as spectators, but as people meeting a piece of home in a foreign place. This wasn't entertainment for them. It was belonging. There was no glance toward the exit, no restless shifting, no body language suggesting she was waiting for it to end. Only presence. Complete, grounded, unhurried presence. And that was the moment Naomi Osaka stopped walking. Because what she was witnessing wasn't post-match fan service. It was an obligation disguised as warmth. It was something rarer. A player turning defeat into connection. A crowd turning loyalty into identity. And a young athlete, still early in her journey, showing something even decorated champions can spend years trying to understand. The ability to matter beyond the scoreboard. From a distance, Osaka just kept watching. Cameras capture her reaction in fragments. First, surprise, then something softer, quiet admiration settling in behind her eyes, and then something deeper still. Recognition. Because even for someone who has lived inside global fame, constant scrutiny, and the kind of pressure that bends people, this felt different. More intimate, more unguarded, more human than what tennis usually allows itself to show. When she finally spoke, her voice carried a rare softness, almost disbelief. I've never seen anything like this. And she meant it, because none of this was about rankings, draws, prize money, or trajectory on a leaderboard. It was about something numbers have never been able to measure. Belonging, identity, that unreplaceable feeling of being seen by people who could have just as easily looked away. Osaka reportedly turned to someone beside her and said, "She lost." She could have just walked away, but she stayed for almost an hour. A pause. That's special. And in that moment, the scoreline stopped matching entirely. The 6-1, 6-4 defeat to Leylah Fernandez, the early exit, the statistics on paper, all of it faded into background noise. Because the Real story was no longer what happened in the match. It was what happened after what remained was something professional sport rarely offers and almost never manufactures. An athlete choosing presence over retreat, connection over convenience, humanity over the instinct to escape. And the moment didn't stay in Stuttgart. Within hours, clips were everywhere. Instagram, X, TikTok, YouTube. Millions of people who had never watched a WTA match before were suddenly stopping to watch this one. Not for the tennis, but for the person. One post summed it up simply. This is why we love Alex. Win or lose, she never forgets where she comes from. Another read. Naomi's face says everything. Even the champions were watching, and they were right to, because Osaka's reaction carried a specific kind of weight. Her public decision in 2021 to step away from competition to protect her mental health fundamentally changed how athletes talk about pressure, expectation, and the real cost of living under constant scrutiny. She understands better than most how natural it is to want silence after a painful loss, to want distance, to disappear and process everything alone. That's the instinct. That's what the body demands. But Eala did the opposite when Osaka eventually addressed the moment in a brief interview. She didn't reach for a highlight quote. She reached for something lived. She lost a tough match, she said. She could have been upset. She could have been frustrated. But she chose to be grateful. That's a choice. And it's not an easy one. Then she paused. The kind of pause that carries more than words can safely hold. I've been in that position, she continued. I've lost matches where all you want to do is leave. Not talk, not see anyone. She didn't finish the thought. She didn't need to. The silence did the work for her. Because what Osaka saw in Eala wasn't just sportsmanship in the traditional sense. It was emotional strength in its most unpolished form. The ability to stay present when every instinct is telling you to disappear. I've lost matches and just wanted to disappear, Osaka said. Watching her handle it with that much grace, it was inspiring. A faint exhale. It reminded me why I play. That line didn't just describe a moment. It expanded it. Because Eala's connection with the Filipino community wasn't something manufactured for cameras or built for optics, and it isn't new. It has been building steadily since her breakthrough at the 2025 Miami Open. From that point on, her matches stopped feeling like isolated sporting events. They started becoming gathering points, spaces where sport, identity, and emotion converge into something impossible to separate. She has spoken openly about growing up with tennis in the Philippines. Limited courts, scarce facilities, and opportunities that were practically non-existent for most people. But recently, she described a very different reality. When I go back to Manila, she said, it's hard to get courts. And that's actually a good thing. When I was younger, they were empty. That contrast says everything, because it reflects a shift, not just in her career, but in what people now believe is possible. For the Filipino diaspora scattered across Europe, the Middle East, and North America, nurses in Dubai, engineers in California, caregivers in Canada, Eala represents something rankings alone will never capture. She represents access, where there was once a wall, possibility, where there was once absence, a version of tennis that finally feels like it includes them. A veteran referee described the atmosphere around her earlier this season with striking precision. When players come from countries like the Philippines, the stadium starts to feel like a Davis Cup tie. National, emotional, loud. Stuttgart was all three. And those fans didn't just come to watch tennis. They didn't travel for a tennis match. They traveled for a mirror, something that reflected their identity back at them on a global stage. They weren't spectators. They were participants in something far larger than the sport itself. Flags still waved. Songs still echoed through the concourse. Even after the final point, the entire space resisted returning to silence. And in the middle of it all, Eala kept giving. To every outstretched hand, every name called across the barrier, every person who had crossed borders just for a few seconds of connection. One fan, still visibly emotional, said through tears, she didn't have to do that. She could have just walked away, but she stayed. She hugged us. She thanked us. That's why we love her. That's what Osaka couldn't stop watching. I've seen struggle, Alex has said before, Even if I haven't lived all of it myself, I understand what it means, and I appreciate what I have. That isn't a line crafted for a press conference. It's a worldview, and it shapes everything about how she moves through the sport. It's why she stayed on court for nearly an hour after losing, why those interactions don't feel transactional, why people respond the way they do. Because in a sport constantly defined by results, she is offering something else entirely, a reason to care that exists completely independent of the scoreboard. When Osaka said, asterisk, she's special, I hope she knows that. I hope she never loses that asterisk. It didn't land like casual praise exchanged between athletes. It sounded like recognition, spoken from someone who understands the cost of staying open in a sport that constantly demands more than you feel you have left to give. And that's what lifted this beyond a viral clip. It became a reminder of what tennis can be at its highest level, not just competition, connection. The tour, however, doesn't pause for emotion. The clay season is already in motion, and it's about to ask very different questions. Next up, the Madrid Open, April 21st and May 3rd, a WTA 1000 event with no qualifiers. Note easing in, no buffer between expectation and execution. Then comes Rome's Italian Open, May 6th to 18th. Another elite field, another layer of pressure, another step deeper into the grind. And after that, the biggest stage of them all on clay, the French Open in Paris, where everything converges and nothing is hidden. The matches ahead will test Alex Eala in ways Stuttgart never could. But Stuttgart has already shown the world something those future results can't erase. A player who, even in defeat, chose to lean in instead of disappear. And a crowd of 55,000 people who didn't just come to watch a result, but to witness a moment that belonged to them. That isn't something you manufacture. That's something that simply is.